back, YouTubers. I am Jason Worthman. That is my buddy Hampton the Bear, and this is Tankers Fantasy Football. And we are going to get right into some starts of the week for you guys. But before we do that, I would appreciate if you would just smash the piss out of that like button and give me a subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to dive right into this right now. We're going to go start of the week. Alex Collins versus the Bengals D. You're giving up the third most yards. You're giving up 176 scrimmage yards to running backs, and they're giving up the sixth most touchdowns to running backs as well. So all in on the Alex Collins this week. Doug Martin, I know, people be like, I don't know, Doug Martin, he plays with the Raiders, but if you are dying for a flex play or an RB3, maybe even back in, dare I say back in RB2, Doug Martin, the Cardinals give him the fifth most yards, 168 scrimmage yards a game to running backs, and they're also giving up this. They're tied for the sixth most touchdowns with the Bengals giving up as well. So I think we can get. I'm thinking about starting him in the league. Into flex, got some buys, got some injuries, feeling kind of all right about it. So I think we're gonna ride out old Dougie Fresh this week. Another guy looking to start. Man, feeling sexy. I know the matchup isn't really there. The Bears are giving up the fewest fantasy points to opposing running backs, but Kerryon Johnson did go out there last week and get it sexy for you. But I'm just all in on the Dalvin Cook this week. I think the Vikings are going to try to, neutralize that Bears pass rush by just running it right at him. Dalvin Cook is back to full health. He clocked the fastest run by any running back in the season in that week 9 when he was out there looking healthy, looking sexy. I think there's no reason to bench Dalvin Cook against the Bears, and even in daily fantasy, I think he's one of those guys that you can get, everyone will be avoiding, so you can cash in on him there as well. We got some sits at running back. Adrian Peterson, the Redskins are missing 3 linemen. The Texans have been 8th versus the rush this year, but they've been 3rd versus the rush in the last 5 games. So I think if you got any other options, go ahead and sit Adrian Peterson. I'm running him out there in the league. I'm not feeling very fucking good about it. Have to do it. Oh my goodness. If you want to jump in there with me, we can have a fucking feel bad about ourselves situation starting the Adrian Peterson as your RB2. But I think if you got any other options, I would look to avoid him this week. Joe Mixon, is added to the injury report on Thursday. If he comes back and gets a full practice on Friday, I'd probably say lean toward the start on him. But, the Ravens are giving the second fewest yards and the 4th fewest touchdowns to opposing running backs as well. And especially if A.J. Green does sit out, I just think this Bengals offense is turning kind of into a dumpster fire without A.J. Green, especially against a tough D like the Ravens. If you got any other options, any other higher ceiling options, I would probably look to start them over Joe Mixon, even though I fucking love you, Joe. Oh, I love you, babe. Another set, I got Howard versus the Vikings, giving the 4th fewest touchdown. Jordan Howard anymore. It's kind of been a touchdown or bust running back, so I'll just go ahead and sit the Jordan Howard. All right, we got some starts of the week at wide receiver. Lead off with Kenny Golladay. Went out there, started slow against the Bears, finished strong. Marvin Jones is looking like if he's going to be out, so Golden Tate's been traded. Marvin Jones is looking to be out. So we're talking about Kenny Golladay could just be an overload of targets this Sunday versus the Panthers. And if you got him in there, I think, strong wide receiver 3 with very sexy deluxe high-end wide receiver 2 upside this week. Got some John Brown. I know Joe Flacco's probably not looking to start. Probably looking at some RG3 out there. And I'm a little bit afraid of this John Brown situation. But, you look at it. The Bengals are giving the 2nd most yards to wide receivers and the 3rd most fantasy points to wide receivers this year. But, my goodness, I don't know. I feel like the start is there, but the floor, the floor could just fall out. We're looking at a 1-2 catch performance like he's been doing these last few weeks. So I don't know if you out there got any other guys, I would probably lean towards starting him once again in a league. I am forced to start the likes of John Brown, probably even with RG3 at the helm. But oh baby, I think you gotta go Doug Martin over John Brown this week. I know that sounds fucking crazy as balls, but I think you gotta do it. I'm just not. I'm afraid of the fucking RG3 situation. I mean, maybe RG3 gets unchained though. Maybe he's like, fuck it. I'm about to go out there and huck it, chuck it football as far and as deep as I fucking can, boys. And if that's what his game plan is, and John Brown is his sexy boy. I mean, RG3 really has nothing to lose, man. He might as well just go out there and fucking hucker chucker, fucking dunking it down. This is your time to shine, RG3, baby. So fuck it, let's roll with John Brown. I just talked myself back into it. All right, Demarius and Kiki, kind of back end wide receiver 3 plays. But I mean, they got the Redskins are giving them the 3rd most yards to opposing wide receivers. So if you gotta start somebody, and it's between a couple of dick bums like Kiki and the likes of, I don't even fucking know out there, who's a fucking dick bum that's floating around the realms of the Kiki, like a Mike Williams or a Tyrell Williams. I might lean toward the Kiki in that situation. All right. T.Y. Hilton should get back up in that ass against the Titans. They're 25th versus wide receivers in the yards category, and they're 23rd versus wide receivers in giving up touchdowns. Malcolm Brown is capable of being roasted as well. So, oh, baby, I think this is an all-in situation for the T.Y. Hilton. I know he's been kind of letting you down thus far, boys, but I think this is the week we can go out there and clang him, bang him with the T.Y. Hilton. Another guy I think is going to have sexy deluxe, even though, the Vikings are fourth best in yards given up and the 2nd best in touchdowns given up to opposing wide receivers. I'm feeling the Anthony Miller this week, boys. You look at it, the Vikings do give it up through the air versus slot wide receivers, so Nagy should be able to scheme up some ways to get it to Anthony. I mean, talking about a guy who gets separation off the line. He's only like 2nd in the league behind the likes of Antonio Brown. So all in on my boy Anthony this week versus the Vikings. I know that sounds crazy, but I think he can go out there and be a very sexy deluxe flex play for you. All right, Sterling Shepard playing against those Buccaneers are giving up the 2nd most points to wide receivers this season, so be a flex play. I know Sterling Shepard just saved the day last week by getting that touchdown. Otherwise, it was a fucking shit bum goose egg type of game, but I think he can get back in that ass versus a team like the Buccaneers. All right, Amari Cooper, also strong start of the week. The Falcons give him the 5th most yards and the 4th most touchdowns. So don't even think twice about it. Just put Amari in your lineup. All right, we got some sits at wide receiver. Tyler Boyd playing against the Ravens, giving the 3rd fewest yards. I mean, he's still going to probably be a wide receiver 3 for you. I'm not necessarily seeing, sit Tyler Boyd no matter what. And, I'm not saying sit Tyler Boyd for some bumskis out there that, some fucking waiver wire dicks or whatever. But I think Tyler Boyd as wide receiver 3 with maybe back in wide receiver 2 upside. But without A.J. Green, this offense has just been middle and bum deluxe thus far. And the Ravens have been a tough secondary mostly this season. And Calvin Ridley going out there playing the Cowboys. We're giving him the 5th fewest yards and the 2nd fewest touchdowns. And he's had single-digit PPR points in 4 of the last 5 games. He's only had 1 touchdown in that stretch. So I think this is a solid sit for the Calvin Ridley. All right, we got some stardoms at tight end. We got Jared Cook versus the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals give him the 8th fewest yards and the 5th fewest touchdowns. But you got to just think about it. They traded Amari Cooper. Martavis Bryant is out. Jordy Nelson is looking like he's probably going to be out too. So Derek Carr is going to have to throw it to somebody. This is another reason why I'm on the Doug Martin. They're probably going to lean the running game. Probably going to lean toward Jared Cook. I think this is going to be a good, solid bounce-back game for Jared Cook after his 2 stinkers the last 2 weeks. Got Vance McDonald versus the Jags. Jags give him the 2nd most touchdowns to opposing tight ends. Gave the 3 touchdowns to Eric Ebron last week. I know one of them was a rushing touchdown, but still give up the 3 touchdowns. And Vance McDonald in that playoff game, in that AFC divisional game. If you do remember last year, Vance McDonald had 10 receptions for 112 yards on like 16 fucking targets versus the Jags in that game. So hopefully you can get a little resurrection of that kind of performance and get it sexy for you this week. All right, some sits at tight end. Just talked about Eric Ebron playing against the Titans, give him the 2nd fewest yards, and the Titans have yet to allow a touchdown to tight ends this season. And Eric Ebron's only playing like 35 40% of the snaps these last couple weeks since Doyle's been back. So I think all in on a guy who is so touchdown dependent like Eric Ebron playing against a team like the Titans who have yet to give up a tight end touchdown. All right, Ben Watson, the Eagles are third fewest yards of tight ends and the fifth fewest touchdowns to tight ends. So Ben Watson shit the bed for you last week. I'd go ahead and leave him on your bench or leave him on the waiver wire and let him shit the bed there for you this week instead of in your starting lineup. So we're going to get some defensive plays for the week. We got the Cardinals versus the Raiders at home. All in on that. Then we got the Texans versus the Redskins. It's in Washington, but still all in on that. The Texans have been the only team that are top 5 against quarterbacks, running backs, and tight ends these last 5 weeks. So all in on the Texans D and the Cardinals D this weekend. All right, you like to cut on my jib? Give me a subscribe, give me a share, get those comments pumping. Ask me any stardom questions below. I will answer them in an orderly fashion out there, boys. Don't be afraid. Give me the subscribe once again. Mash the piss out of that like button. I do appreciate that. Get these videos pumping in other people's recommended video sections so we can get more Tankers listeners and grow the Tanker Army. All right, boys. I'll see you. Cheeseburger.